What's up, bro?
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm great. I'm gonna switch to the couch. I just wanted to get it started before we did that.
You're moving to the couch, huh? I almost wore a suit, but I figured you were gonna wear a polo. I figured it's
Yeah.
more of a polo crowd.
It is a polo crowd today.
Polo crowd.
It
You
is
got
for
your
sure.
professional golfing hat on because you're
I do.
You're
I do.
sponsoring and all, you know.
That's the goal. That's the goal. All right, let me.
Is that the ultimate goal? Be a sponsored golfer? You got to do a mic check there, brother.
I think the mic's only attached to the one side, so I'll just leave it with both, and that way I can still talk. I'm gonna go sit down though. All right. So, welcome to the Iron Apex.
Welcome.
It's official.
It's happened. It's going on right now.
It's live. We're live. So I like the live version better. For those of you who haven't done a live versus a pre-recorded, most podcasts are pre-recorded. That creates an immense amount of work on the back end for editing and production. You can also remove stuff, right, or add stuff to it. But yeah, bro, what I think we want to do is just kind of start off with, who is Philippe and who is Joshua, and why did we get together to create the Iron Apex? And I guess what I'll do is I'll ask you a couple of questions, and I'll let you ask me a couple of questions.
I love it.
Do you?
Sounds perfect.
Okay, so for me, what I'm curious about is, what is your number one motivator? What drives you the most?
Brother, impact, right? Like I always tell that to people when if I can impact somebody's life to where they can have like that degree of separation from what their old limiting belief is to what a new belief, like for me, that is key. Like that's a game changer for me. And that's like, it doesn't matter whether I'm talking to a client or I'm talking to a broker, or I'm talking to a partner, a vendor, it doesn't matter. It's like, I always want somebody to walk away from that conversation being like, shit, what just happened to me? You know what I mean? Like, and that impact is like, I don't know, man. All I remember is like San Jose, 2015, when I went to a Tony Robbins event for the first time, and it was just so impactful because it really changed everything in me. And I was like, what the fuck just happened to me? You know what I mean? Like it was just wild. So then ever since that point, I was like, man, I'm gonna be like Tony, and I'm gonna go out, and anybody that I meet, I'm gonna try to figure out how I can impact their life in some kind of way.
Well, that's fair, right? That's all we can expect sometimes.
To live an impactful life, man.
Yeah, I agree. Impact is important. So what do you think the impact of what we're trying to do is going to be?
Yeah, so I think you and me, Josh, we talk a lot, and the way that we met was in a very conventional way, meaning like I saw what you were doing. I reached out and was like, hey, I want to do some stuff with you. And, I did it in a way of doing some of your courses, and then, doing a Zoom meeting with you, and then, doing an in-person meeting with you, and then going on to doing boot camps and so on and so forth. And I think a lot of it has to do with like, people know stuff, right? We have the stuff that we know, and then we have the stuff that we know that we don't know. We're like, well, I know that I should be doing that, but I don't know how to do it. But I think this statistic as well. 89% of the shit that's out there are things that we don't even know exist. And I think there's so many brokers that get set in this pattern because their uplines are just like mass producing kind of information, and they're saying, yeah, like everybody follows this blueprint, right? It's very Lennar style, right? There's like 5 homes you can build the Lennar blueprint, right? And all these will sell and all this will work. But it's like, in order to really get ahead, everybody's so different. You need to be able to custom build stuff, and you need to be able to do it on the fly. And I think a lot of people don't have those skills. They don't have the tools, and they don't have the resources because they don't know they exist, right? Like, if you ever try to do carpentry before, you're thinking like, I have a hammer and a nail, right? And then you're like, a Kreg drill, what the fuck is that, right? Like, what's that for? It's like put angles in wood and shit like this. And I know that from like COVID. I wanted to build tables and chairs, and I built like a tiki bar and all this stuff in COVID, right? And I was like, I didn't know what any of these tools were until I had to actually use them. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, I had no idea there's like a form that you can use to drill like angled holes and all this. But if I had not done that research, I mean, it was something that I didn't know. And it made it a lot easier. It made a person like me that has got very little fine motor skill, where I can start building furniture and shit, right? And it's like, yeah, obviously building furniture has nothing to do with selling insurance, but it also has everything to do with it, right? Because it's the mindset of reframing your situation and saying, hey, my problems, my issues, my objections, the things that are standing, my obstacles are not unique to me, right? God is not punishing me and saying, hey, I'm going to give you a unique set of obstacles that no one has ever overcome. Absolutely not, right? So I feel like what we're trying to do together is to bring a lot of those things that you even brought to light to me. And a lot of those things I already knew, but then it just re-solidified that I wasn't crazy and I should double down on these things that I was doing because you were doing it at a very high success level. And I was like, just having that realization, you know what I mean? Of knowing, oh shit, there's other crazy people out there like me. So maybe I'm not so crazy. Maybe I'm normal and everybody else is crazy, right? Like, I think there's a lot of people that are going to tune into this and be like, holy shit, I've been thinking about doing like this for years and I just never did it because everybody said I was crazy. And it's like, well, yeah, they don't want you to do it. They want to keep you down here. You're more controllable and they can just feed you the lies, right? And I don't think I think you'll agree with me. I don't think all of these FMOs and all of these insurance companies and all of these agencies, I don't think they're doing it on purpose to keep people down. I just think it's the sick cycle that exists.
They're doing the profit over people model.
For sure.
Which is the volume model, and I think most people know what to do. The problem that most people lose translation is how to do it. Yeah. So people get stuck with, okay, how do I take the first step? How do I take, I get it. I totally have to climb that mountain, but do I go the right side? Do I go the left side? Do I go straight up it? Do I try to fly up to it? Do I, and all of us want to just be put on a helicopter and drop to the top of the hill. The reality is, even if you did have that happen, you just fall down. And the sustainability of a plan, that's, I think, for us, faith, leadership, and peak performance is the key core values of the Iron Apex. And so I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm working very hard at being a better and better Christian. I just got baptized this year. But both Philippe and I have a bad habit on some levels of cussing a little bit.
Yes.
And so we will be a little bit raw and authentic. And that's what you'll find. That's the reason why I chose Philippe. I've been looking for a fresh view to help me bring to the marketplace what I've been trying to do previously with the Medicare Machine Factory. You have your own podcast that you've been doing, and we're both basically getting rid of the old, and we're shedding the shell. We're peeling the skin, if you're thinking it's a serpent, right? And we're going to come out fresh with content, with what's happening now. Like, the reality is, most of the recipes that are out there, whether it's an upline, whether it's a carrier training, whatever it is, it's a recipe that worked in 2005. It's a recipe that worked in 2010. It's a recipe that maybe even worked in 2015. But COVID changed everything in a lot of ways, including the dynamics of, what is or what isn't essential. I remember that was one of the hot topics, is who's an essential worker and who's not.
Yeah.
It's essential now. If you're not like today, we ended up with 3 or 4 fires in my office today that I was able to leverage the new technology of AI and create solutions in a half an hour.
Yeah.
Would have taken weeks before. And so that's just one small cataclysm that we're going to bring to the table, is not only you need to leverage AI. Again, we all know what to do, But most people are stuck in the mud, frozen in the headlights of how do I do it though? How do I leverage AI? How and how much? Because I'll tell you, you can over AI.
100%. You can build a lot of redundancies in AI because you end up buying like 5 versions of the same thing because they were advertised and marketed differently. And you're like, oh, I've got all 5 of these things. And I said, they all do the same thing though. So then you get 5 opinions that are all right.
Well,
but
they're
it
all
leaves
yes
you in a
men
place
too.
of not starting. You're like, well, which one do I choose? Now I got to figure out which one to choose. And it's like,
now you need an AI to filter the AIs.
exactly. Yeah. And you have there's a systematic pattern for it. And I run into that, that conversation with people all the time, but sometimes it's an argument where people are utilizing like multiple GPTs. And I'm like, yeah, but 3 of the ones that you're using are exactly the same, right? Or everybody just wants to use free versions of things. And they're wondering why it's not as good as what people marketed. And I said, because the people that are marketing it to you are using the full-blown professional paid-for versions, which can, as you know, because you're just like me, can get expensive, right? Like my budget for AI is damn near as high as my budget for marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I use it so much. And I'm like, and like you're putting out fires utilizing AI. And today I was talking to a friend of mine over the weekend, and he was asking me some questions and I couldn't answer. And I know like the methods of creating EBITDA for a business has a lot to do with your TAM, your SAM, and all that stuff. We'll cover that stuff later on. But like when I was looking at it, he was like, well, what's the TAM for your busiest market here in Central Florida? And I was like, dude, I've never really looked at that for specifically Medicare Advantage. Like he broke it down on me like that. And I was like, yikes, dude, like I don't really know. So like I created these 5 prompts. I created these 5 prompts in sequence that any broker, any person can use. And all you do is plug in your name, you plug in your zip codes or the counties that you work in. And it literally gives you a 37-page document on all your TAMs, which is total addressable market, your SAMs, which is all the things that you can sell, how to do it, break down the whole process, what you do week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, all the way for 90 days for a massive action plan because you don't want anything over 90 days. And you know what I did? I built it when I was on my exercise bike in the garage in the pitch black, waiting for my sauna to heat up. And I was like, because I do talk to text to everything. And I was like, bro, holy shit. And it's because my GPT is built so well. And then I've got these internal agent bots. And it's like, man, but I mean, it took forever to build all that stuff. But now it's like lightning fast. I get results, right? And I think there's a lot of brokers that know this exists. They know it exists, but they've never been bothered to either learn how to do it or, like Josh, we're always looking for people within our industry to give us the answer. And when those people are like, oh no, AI is not going to replace you. A lot of time that's the answer. Oh, don't worry about it. AI isn't here yet. I think that guy's being exaggerative. Like AI is not here yet. And it's like, you don't have to look far. Oh, it's here. You don't have to look far. Just look how much, all you got to do is this. Investigate how much Medicare, CMS is investing into AI and automation. And if you don't think that's not a precursor of what the entire industry is going to do, you're mistaken, right? Like they're taking the human element out of insurance now, actively now with voice AI, with written AI, with all of that. So it's those brokers that don't have that realization yet that, holy shit, maybe I can learn something from other people and other industries, right? Because like you had to go outside this industry to get some of this knowledge, because I know you're a big SWAT guy, right? And SWAT has nothing to do with the health insurance industry. Definitely not the Medicare. It's not like these SWAT guys were Medicare brokers.
It's life insurance focus for sure, yeah.
Right. But it's completely different. And when people say, oh, no, life and health is the same thing. No, it's not. It's the same license, right? But it's 100%. You cannot approach.
Yeah,
you can't approach Medicare the way you approach like final expense. Absolutely not. A different beast altogether, man. So I think what you and I are going to be doing with this podcast is really creating some clarity for people and some paths, because not everybody's going to take the same path. But I think if we can map it out and create this GPS where we can create coordinates for people where they're like, hey, I do want to go to Waffle House off of I-91. What are those coordinates again? I'll be like, here are the coordinates. I'm sorry, guys. I have 2 things that I do. I curse and I love Waffle House. Some people are going to hate on me for cursing, and I'm a big Christian. And I absolutely love Waffle House. And just a complete side note, I do have really bad ADHD. But what my heart was broken in 2023 when I went to the Waffle House and they told me they no longer sell franchises. Because Josh, like, you want to be a pro golfer, joking aside, right? You want to be like a pro golfer. I just wanted to own like 7 Waffle Houses because when I was dead broke and I was a broker, Waffle House fed my fucking family, man. Because it was cheap, it was easy, it was relatively healthy, and it's open 24 hours. And as a broker on the road, you're picking up your kids and stuff, man. It was so easy to get to. And they're always off the highway, so you're off and on, off and on, off and on. No wasted time, no sit down in a restaurant. Bacon, eggs, grits, toast, done. Bacon, eggs, grits, toast, done.
You get to see them make it too, which I kind of like. I do like that. Okay, so we're going to run out of time if we don't stay on track. So why do we need to call it the Iron Apex?
Well, I think, you and I were talking a lot, and obviously what we bring is we try to let people know that we're at that apex of where we are in this industry, is we're on that top, right? And it's a lot of work and it's hard, and you think of an apex of a mountain. And I thought, both of us are very big Christ followers, and we connect a lot on our faith. And, the whole idea of iron sharpens iron, and having something that's very, dare I say, alpha, and very, dare I say, courageous built, right? Built on courage and built on faith forward. And we thought Iron Apex was the best name to come out with, because it really describes how your and I relationship started, and kind of the conversations that we'd have on what we would like to see happen in our industry. It's not to alienate people that believe in other things. Great, believe whatever you want. But I think we're really trying to talk to people that are faith centered, and they're looking to be impact driven, but not get drowned into the whole sales thing and the whole, Wolf of Wall Street style, because that leads down to a road of sin, that leads down to a road of misery, broken families, broken relationships, bad fathers. For me, it's really big that I speak to fathers, people that are married, people that have kids, and letting them know you can balance your life, make a shit ton of money, have a lot of success, impact a lot of people, and not alienate your family and not alienate your wife, and have them be involved in your business, right? And obviously, all about that.
Yes, sir. I think, Proverbs 27:17, the iron sharpens iron. It's true. And that when I put myself around soft people, I get softer. When I put myself around sharp people, I get sharper. When I put myself around dumb people, I get dumber. When I put myself around sinning people, I sin more. As the old adage goes, you hang around the barbershop long enough, you're going to get your hair cut.
Absolutely.
And that's just the reality of it. And, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for, and so you don't have to be an alpha male. You just have to have an alpha mindset.
Correct.
And so I don't want to alienate women, because women are very important. And in fact, if you were to ask me, like, the truth be told, I would have an entire agent force of nothing but women if I could get away with it. Build trust faster, much more compassionate, easier to train, frankly.
Yep.
And so this is for men and for women. We're just two alpha males that
absolutely
that's part of the Iron Apex, and we want to bring that strength. We want to bring that leadership, and we want to bring a message of unity to one agent at a time. Convert this profit over people model to people over profit, and I'm firmly believe. Mark my words now. I am betting all in on human at the end of this AI journey. Because everybody, it's going to be a cycle. It's going to be a bubble like the internet, and it's going to pop. At some point, people are going to have enough of the AI BS. They're going to have enough of the non-human, non-relationship, passion. There's no passion in AI. And frankly, it's a yes man. The AI is designed to keep the user happy, just like every other thing that sin starts with. It starts with pleasure. And
correct.
Reality is most lessons are learned through pain. Iron sharpening iron is not a pleasure process. It's a painful process where you run into somebody who's bigger, better, stronger, faster, smarter, more rich than you, more handsome than you, whatever it is. And you have to accept the humility of knowing that you have room to grow. You have room to learn. You cannot stop that process. And that's what we're really all about, is bringing to the table the truth, which is you can figure this out yourself. You can learn and diversify. If you're not in the model of diversification, I do believe the career path of doing insurance for 4 years and then retiring, I I don't see that as a clear path anymore. I
No.
see it as a arm in a multiple channeled opportunity, and you've got to learn how to leverage the marketing, the back end follow up, the customer service, the whole system, and then duplicate it into other areas and industries. And if Waffle House isn't doing franchises, then by golly, we'll figure out some other damn franchise.
There's always Huddle House right now.
We'll do the Pancake House, whatever.
House.
And so, that's really what this is about. The Iron Apex to me is finding people. It started with me with Philippe, and as they say, diamonds shine in a pile of dirt. It's a constant that every time I've interacted with Philippe, every time I've been around him, every time we've been on a meeting or a Zoom or in the room or et cetera, he stands out. And that's the kind of people that you want to be aligned with. And so we're looking to align with as many people as possible. We're going to be bringing a whole bunch of stuff to the table. The podcast, we're doing Tuesdays at 12 Mountain, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, and all you Pacific guys who wake up late.
Sleeping in.
We're doing it at 11 in the morning for you. So don't worry, you can sleep in still and still your surfing in the morning or whatever. We're going to do a bunch of stuff. We're going to do a deeper dive on Thursdays every other week. So we're doing a Tuesday every week for half an hour, and we're doing Thursdays every other week for an hour. It could be 90 minutes in some, and we're going to go back and forth on the Thursday ones. We're going to try to interact and have a lot more guests and other third parties, and not just from do we want to highlight people in the insurance industry? Absolutely. But we're also going to bring in people that are the top of the building companies and exiting, and we're going to have people that are top in AI, and we're going to have the top of other echelons and industries to help you understand that the more you're able to apply outside influences and knowledge, the bigger advantage you get over the ducks. And I call them ducks because they all quack and they all look like the same. This industry is so easy. Like when people say, well, how do you differentiate yourself? Like, just find out what everybody else is doing and do it a little bit better. The margin of error and success is 1%. Yep. You'll lose and win by 1%. And people think it's like this huge gap between the apex and where they are, only because it looks like a mountain. But just like any other journey, it just starts with you starting taking steps, and keep your eyes on your feet. Where are you now? And focusing on how do I improve where I am now, one day at a time. Because when I look back, I don't know about you, Philippe, but if I look back 15 years, man, I am not anywhere near who I am today. And there's no way that young man 15 years ago, I call him a young man now, so I feel like I get to it. He was still in his 20s. That guy was troubled, lost, full of sin, full of doubt, full of hatred, full of anger, full of all kinds of stuff that were inhibitive and prohibitive to success, that I had to slowly build and mash. Again, iron sharpening iron. If you've never watched the process of forging a sword, beat the hell out of it, put it in the cold water, put it back in the fire,
and do it
beat
again.
The hell out of it again, put it back in the cold water, put it back in the fire, heat it up. It's this continuous process of forging. And that's really what this iron sharpening iron thing is. The process of forging, again, is painful. And if you're in a painful phase, I'll tell you, I am too. I'm going through my own growth period now. And sometimes I look up and I go, why? Everything was perfect. Why does it have to go? Because everything has a season. And every season change has a reason. And you have to get to the core. And that's where the faith part comes in. And I would say that's what changed my life the most throughout time has been anytime I've been recentered in faith, recentered in family, recentered in leadership, that's what's opened up the doors. And that's what the Iron Apex is going to be about. And so we're going to do the podcast. We're going to do webinars. We're going to do seminars. We're going to do workshops. We're going to do boot camps. And eventually it's going to culminate into doing an event. And an event different than any other event that I've been to. And it's really this vision that we've got together that this is just the first piece. And so strap in, tune in a perfect world, tell people about this. And we're going to have fun. We're going to have prizes. We're going to use all the marketing stuff to teach you not only what to do, but again, to me, it's one thing for someone to hand me the blueprints Hand me the, for this, I'll use my dad as an example. It blew my mind. He was the guy, he worked at IBM, and his job was to take the latest, greatest IBM printer, take it apart, and then draw the manual.
Wow.
And so when I think about like the complexities of that, and so all those little diagrams you ever look at with little lines and how the
I mean, I build IKEA shit where I used to.
My dad used to build the plans for that kind of stuff. He used to take NOAA maps, NOAA, National Oceanographic Atmospheric Association.
Yeah,
they take scans of the Earth and all this stuff, and he'd take these back in the 80s. You should have seen these things. They were like the most pixelated pictures you've ever seen, and his job was to clean them up manually. This was before computers and before all that stuff. And so that process of taking skills, which all of you watching this now or later, all of you have your own set of skills, right? Liam Neeson style. And it's our job to take our strengths and enhance them, take our weaknesses and minimize them, and reach outside of ourselves, outside of our current bubble, our current comfort zone. And again, that growth is going to come outside the comfort. And so, if someone is listening right now and they feel stuck, leading at work, but losing at home, successful on paper, but empty inside, what's the first thing you tell them, Philippe?
Well, for me, I'm really big on energy audits, right? Like I like to see like, where is your time being spent, right? Because a lot of people, they find like, there's not enough time in the day. And I'm like, well, and that's a common one that we hear. I can't do this because there's not enough time and this and this and that. I like to do an energy audit with everybody. I like to see like, hey man, if you just take 7 days of your week, show me where you're spending blocks of time. And most people will say, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, what is your time blocked out for? And that's usually the first problem. They don't block their time. And I'm like, okay, so when do you have time with your family? When do you have time for this? When do you have time for your leisure? When are you working out? When are you doing spiritual connection? Like, when are these things happening? And they're not. So they're all over the place. Therefore, your results are going to be all over the place, and they're going to be inconsistent. And inconsistency breeds depression, breeds sin, breeds doubt, breeds being self-conscious if you're not consistent, because you're building no discipline. You can have all the motivation in the world. And a great friend of me today, he stood up, he was giving a speech, and he was talking about motivation versus discipline. He's talking about motivation being a fire starter. Looks cool, looks great, the fire's going, but you cannot stoke a fire with a fire starter. You can start it, but the logs is what keeps the fire going, and those logs are the discipline. And the problem is logs don't make themselves. You got to go out and you've got to cut the wood. But if you just said, every time I need wood, I'm just going to walk out into the forest and start cutting wood, you are going to die. Because the weather's no good, right? Or something's going on, or you're going out at nighttime, you get attacked by a bear. When my point is that
you've never chopped wood before too, then that tells me.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm in Florida, we don't chop wood because it's hot as shit here all the time. But you're in Colorado, you know what I'm saying, right? But it's like, if you don't have a plan or a structure, you don't know what you're doing. And if also you're utilizing your physical activity at the wrong time, you're gonna disperse energy that could be better placed somewhere else. So the first thing I usually do with people is, show me your calendar, show me where you spend your time, where's your energy going? And you audit that. You literally audit it like you would like a CPA, right? You audit that and say, okay, well, and it's very self-realizing for people when they notice like, wow, I'm dumping a lot of time here, but I'm most effective here. So shouldn't I take all that time where I'm spending on business and put it here instead? And that energy audit helps you balance the things that you should be doing that actually move the needle. You put them in the time where you're most productive. For me, I'm most productive before 2 p.m. So anywhere from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. is my hot spot. That is where I'm most productive. Right? I mean, I'm 46 years old, brother. This year, 46. So right at like 2:30 to about 4 o'clock, I'm slower at that time. That's typically where I work on more brain function stuff, where I'm like, let me sit down, let me slow down, let me study some manuals, let me do a little bit of the self-study, let me work on AI, let me work on automations, and that's where I slow down. But if I'm talking to people and it's important meetings and it's things that I got to run and gun and kind of figure out, I don't do dinner meetings. I do breakfast, coffee, lunch. And half the time I do lunches, I'm like early lunch, or it's going to be afternoon coffee. I don't do this 2-hour lunch meetings with people. It's a waste of time. It kills your energy, and it'll literally derail you depending on what your energy audit ends up being. So that's a big one for me.
I love it. No, well, we're out of time. So what we're going to do is we're going to promote. So we have a Facebook page and we have a Facebook group.
That's right.
It's really easy to find. Iron Apex. We will be live streaming all of this directly to that stuff, but we need your help. We need you to go and accept the invite and or seek it out and request to join. And we're going to be dropping the hot stuff, like how to do this, how to do that, training videos, all the latest, greatest stuff that we're putting together is going to go into that and that only, because that's going to be the crux of this whole thing. And so join us. We're going to be here again next Tuesday live, same time, same place. We're going to be doing Thursdays. Thursdays, I got to pull up and make sure because we're still getting all this stuff rolled out. Thursdays are starting.
I think the next week or the week after.
Yeah, I think it's the 16th. Let me double check though. Famous last words is I think. Let's see. Did those? What am I looking at here? Oh, there it is. Starting on the 23rd.
That's it. Yeah, the 23rd.
So 2 weeks from now on Thursday, and this one's a little bit later in the afternoon. So it'd be 3 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
So put us on while you're eating dinner. That's where we're going to go deep into stuff and actually give. We're going to do trainings on Thursdays. We're going to do meetings with other experts. We're going to plug into all kinds of cool stuff. These are the quick hitters to give you motivation and leadership and inspiration and whatever else we come up with. But this was fun. I can't wait to do again next week.
Excited.
And thanks for tuning in, y'all. And we'll see
Thanks,
you
guys.
on the next one.
We'll see you soon.